What's up, y'all? Today we have three stories reminding us that sometimes the happiest place on earth is not so happy.
Scares from America's infamous landmark, Disney World. All right, so I have three stories for everyone today, and they're all from the infamous Disney World, House of Mouse. And I hope this to be a recurring series because I love scary Disney stories because it's kind of like modern folklore. Disney's such an important part of Americana, and seeing these urban legends unfold in real time. Usually when you're listening to a scary story, it's like, in the 12th century in northern Wales, there's the ghost of an old... this is stuff that's happened within the last 100 years. Disney World and America itself, North America, is not that old. So when you have these stories coming out in real time, they're more contemporary. They're more modern. Have you ever been to a Disney World of any kind? Panda,
No,
Land,
I haven't,
anything?
unfortunately. But this whole genre is sort of confusing to me because I didn't even realize that there were like scary stories associated with Disney at all. The most I've heard of is people throwing ashes at one of the rides in Disney World.
Ooh, you might be on
That's
to
like the most I've heard
something.
about.
Yeah, you might be on to something. And I could speak more to it because there's so many stories, but there used to be a treasure trove of them on the old internet before the internet got compartmentalized into 4 different websites / search engines, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of hard to dig these stories back up. But one of these stories has a picture that's from an old forum in 2004, which now feels ancient. But it was even cataloged from then. But I got 3 stories for you today, and one of them involving maybe what Panda just mentioned. Story 1. Have you ever heard about the ghostly bellhop on the Tower of Terror? Now, this is not one that I've ever experienced myself, but have heard in passing. I've also had a few friends that worked at Twilight Zone Tower of Terror also tell me of their experiences, so you can choose to believe it or not. At the Tower of Terror, there is a Disney ghost here and there, but there may be a real one that torments those that bring the pleasure and terror to guests. This Disney ghost story tells the tale of a bellhop that haunts one of the premier attractions at Disney's Hollywood studios. You may all know that the cast members there are the bellhops for the hotel. Firstly, a little background on Tower of Terror is that there are 4 loading platforms for the attraction, and they're named Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. It's militaristic names for this ride. These load into 2 drop shafts, which are named Echo and Foxtrot. As the Disney ghost story goes, many years ago, a bellhop was working Platform Delta, Platform D, and loading guests onto the attraction. Suddenly, he just dropped dead on the spot, and his end came right on Platform D. Through all the times I've been told this story, no one ever quite knew how or why he died. But things went on, and the attraction continued to operate as it does today. At the end of each night, the bellhop working each platform had to ride through and make sure the attraction is running as it should. The problem here is for the cast member that would be on Platform D. Cast members have always said that they would always get A, B, and C platforms done first, and then all ride together on Delta. This is because the ghost of the bellhop who died is said to still haunt that particular attraction. Now, he's never been said to be dangerous or out to harm anyone, but he would make life rather scary and freaky for other cast members. The attraction would shut down or freeze. Lights would go on and off at the time. The ghosts of the attraction wouldn't be on their cue when they were set to appear on certain floors. Stuff like that. Some have even said that a ghostly figure would appear in the boiler room of Tower of Terror, where you get on the attraction, they'd see it out of the corner of their eye and lose sight of it once they tried to look directly at it. So this is somewhat based on true accounts from the ride itself. I was too afraid to go on the Tower of Terror most of my life. I was in a family that grew up going to Disney World every year, every other year, and we would stay at the Wilderness Lodge, and I would watch other family members go on the Tower of Terror, and I was too scared. But at age 20, I did finally go on it, and I had no idea it was heavy with the paranormal themes. When you go on, it's just
Really?
like cobwebs everywhere and like ghostly white-faced bellhops, and it was pretty startling. And then the drop itself is scary, but it's just a dark, old, creepy ride. And I'm wondering if the story of the platform crushing someone is coming from a real documented Disney story that actually did happen in the 50s. On one of the rides, a woman was, and maybe we'll just make this a video in itself someday, a woman was gruesomely crushed to death on a ride in Disney. So it does happen, and has happened before. So
I just find it pretty funny that out of all the rides to have a haunting, it's the Tower of Terror. You know, it's like it's like you have all these like animatronic ghosts, and I can just imagine like a group of tourists looking at like an obviously like automaton or animatronic ghost and be like, yo, that's like a real ghost. Oh my god. You know,
it's also pretty.
Wouldn't it make more sense if it's like a princess like Disney ride that became haunted, you know?
Yeah, that would be much more.
That's supposed to be actually scary.
That'd be nefarious and jarring. Yeah, why would you be the guy who's only died once? I think I'll haunt this haunted ride. It's kind of redundant. It's like, man, people aren't even gonna notice you're a ghost on there. That's where these stories even come from. It's like, yeah, I thought I saw a ghost, but the whole ride is ghosts anyway, so I wasn't really sure myself. Story 2. I was at Disney with my aunt my last trip when something a little odd happened on the dinosaur ride in the Animal Kingdom. I got on, I was in the second seat in from the left, and an old man sat next to me. Nothing nondescript, old guy, nothing fancy about his clothes, had gray hair and a short beard, and was wearing a ball cap, which he didn't take off. That was weird from the get-go, as throughout the whole ride, he did not react to anything. My man was not amused. Yes. Just goes to Disney to be miserable. Dinosaur is a pretty shaky, loud ride. And usually, you know, there's laughing and shouting and reactions to stuff. This guy hung on, but kept the same bland look on his face the entire time. He didn't react, smile, or anything. Okay, maybe just a weird old man. When we got off the ride, I went to check the ride photos they snap of you partway through. And when ours came up, it looked like the old man had no eyes. He did not have sunglasses on during the ride, or even normal glasses, and there was nothing wrong with his eyes when he got on. But in that photo, there was nothing but black, all around where his eyes should have been. Also, he was looking straight ahead in the photo, not at the dinosaur, camera, and again, bland expression. My aunt saw the photo too, and agreed it was way weird and way spooky. I didn't even know that Disney had a dinosaur ride. I thought that belonged to Universal, but I guess they dabble in that as well.
Maybe he was like a Vietnam vet with like 2 glass eyes, and he got on with the glass eyes, but they popped out as soon as the ride started. You know, so.
Exactly. So this reminded me of another Disney urban legend that I might dig into at some point. Is that apparently on the Runaway Train, which is a phenomenal ride in Disney World, someone got decapitated. They were too tall. They got on the ride, and there are some parts where some bone structures hang down a little bit, and maybe that's how I connected it to this dinosaur ride. And supposedly someone was too tall, or they stood up at the wrong time to take a picture, or maybe they weren't amused enough by the ride like this man was, and he got his head blown off, essentially. Damn. So maybe, and again, that's a heavy
from
heavy
what, from hitting the ceiling.
It was just a fixture that was hanging overhead of the ride, yeah, and it must have been pointy. But maybe this
it was an animatronic ghost. That's
yeah,
how it really haunted.
Who clotheslined him? But they yeah, I mean, maybe this guy got too close to a dinosaur on that ride and got his eyes gouged out and bled to death on the spot. And now his spirit is completely unamused by this ride for all eternity. Story 3.
Or it's a Vietnam vet, and he's like, "God damn it, my 2 glass eyes have popped out again."
Wait, how do I end up on this Disney ride? No, he doesn't even know. He thinks he's still in his kitchen, experiencing vertigo.
He thinks he's on the last helicopter out of Vietnam.
Yes. So, don't mean to disparage the veterans here, but stay away from the Disney rides while you're at it. Just a fair warning. Story 3. Rumor has it that years ago, a woman approached Disney saying that one of her sons had been killed, and they had absolutely loved the Haunted Mansion. Here you go, Panda. She wanted to spread his ashes in the mansion, but Disneyland, of course, said no. So the woman got on the ride, and at some point dumped the ashes out anyway. Weird stuff started happening after that. Once, as guests were getting off the ride, they reported to the cast member at Unload that there was a little kid running around the ballroom scene. So, the cast member sent security in to look, but they don't find anything. Similarly, guests have reported seeing a little boy standing at the exit and crying. Some have said that when they asked him if he needed help, he acted like they weren't there. Some have even said he disappeared. Of course, by the time they tell a cast member about the boy and he goes to check it out, he's long gone. This, for some reason, reminded me. I'm now just rediscovering a lot of Disney memories that I have. But there was a time I was waiting to get on I think it was the Muppet Show ride in Disney. And there was a kid that was holding on to his mom's leg and running in circles around her leg. And it was just so annoying to me. He was screaming and yelling while doing it. And I slowly stuck my leg out, and the kid just face planted flat on the ground. And my little cousin started cracking up, and my little cousin's mom, turned around and started yelling at him like he did it. I didn't mess up.
How old were you?
20.
Oh,
It's on my last trip to Disney. And my little cousin was probably, I don't know, 14 or 15. He was probably getting yelled at so much at the time he didn't even hear his mom say anything. But for some reason, when you talk about a little boy at Disney, like ignoring someone or ignoring directions, just reminded me of that story. I will add, by the way, Haunted Mansion is a great ride. Haunted Mansion is a lot of fun, and a lot happens quickly.
These scary rides on Disney, are they actually scary, or are they just like kind of Disney scary?
Haunted Mansion is intentionally Disney scary. So even this background that we have up right now, you see those people dancing off to the right. That's a lot what the ride is like. It's fun, it's playful, and there's like some elements to it that are a little creepy, but the Tower of Terror is actually scary. The Tower Terror is actually frightening. But there's rides at Disney that are unintentionally scary that are definitely more scary than the Haunted Mansion ride. That was meant to be fun. But it was also a ride that I was too scared to go on when I was younger. So ironic that I'm into scary paranormal stuff now. Witness. So this is a personal story speaking to the urban legend at the Haunted Mansion ride. Witness. I took my 100-foot night shot accessory to Walt Disney World with the specific purpose of taking ride photos of the Haunted Mansion for a Walt Disney World virtual visit. Wow, okay. So that's getting
100-foot night shot. Is that like it's not like a selfie stick, is it?
No, I think this is from the actual post from 2004, or it's from a long time ago. This is an SLR digital camera. So this is cutting edge, and definitely had all the attachments.
I'm like, that's a mega long selfie stick.
Yeah, so that would be an urban myth in itself. This selfie sticker died and no one said a word. After documenting the ride, I put the camera away for the rest of the day. I went back to our place that evening and began to download the photos to my laptop. Lo and behold, one of the first shots of the attraction shows something that definitely was not there when I was on the ride. This photo was taken in the first hallway of the attraction, the one with the eye following portraits. As you'll see in the photo, it appears as though a child is peeking his head out of the doom buggy and looking directly at me. Not only was he not there when I took the pic, there wasn't a child of this age within 20 people in front of me in line. And as you can see, he's only a few doom buggies in front of me. Not only that, what's he doing looking at me? There's no flash and no visible light coming from me. It's all infrared and invisible to the naked eye. So it looks like this woman might have gotten a sight of this child that was on the ride, the ghost child from the ghost ashes that were supposedly spread. So let's take a look, right? I don't know. That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's either a real kid, and I'm not here to dissect it. If she says it's a picture of a ghost, I have no problem believing that, because that makes my life more interesting. But those are the Doom buggy. They're called Doom, Doom buggies. That's what they call them on the Haunted Mansion, which I learned.
Buggy of Doom.
Yeah, exactly. In a lot of my research into this. But that's supposedly the picture of the kid turning its head around. It's kind of the Disneyification of the Amityville Horror. Kid like looking around the banister on the stairwell.
It looks like a scene from like Malcolm in the Middle. How like one of those kids would pop out from like a doorway stuff, you know?
That is true. That is true. So yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that someone told that story about the urban legend, and it's also so funny. The last time I was on this ride in Disney World was 2010, and I had a plethora of websites, all different ones that weren't interconnected, talking about the story of what was going on the Haunted Mansion ride. So it's fun to see that someone actually got a picture of it. So, well,
you know what I want to know is, like, you have all these stories of ghosts in areas, and these stories always say, oh, the ghost was grinning and it was like laughing and smiling. And I want to know, it's like, if you're a ghost and you've been haunting that place for like 10 years, are you really still happy after all that time? Like, what are you exactly what are you laughing about? You know, it's like,
what's so
not
funny?
that funny. Yeah, it's like, dude, imagine it's like your 15th year as a ghost haunting a specific area. You scare some guy, like, wow, never seen that before. You know, like, you're still happy for some reason.
I don't know how much control, or even if you're a spirit, when you haunt someone, you can actually change what you're doing in front of them. You can barely get yourself to be shown in front of them. Maybe all you can muster is that weird smiley face. Or I don't even think ghosts are trying to scare people, if they even are spirits of souls, or more just imprints of something we've experienced in reality on this planet that echoes through time, and other people can see it in front of them like a projection. I'm not sure. But it's interesting because this story that I'm doing, these stories are a little topical right now, because Disney World's experiencing the most rides on site this year, or within the last 12 months in the entire history of the park. People are dropping like flies on Disney properties in Florida right now.
So they're going to Disney World and they're unsubscribing to life in the park.
That's a gentle way of putting it. Yes, exactly. They are doing that. And it's sometimes in the park, sometimes on their, they have a place called Buena Vista Springs or Flamingo Crawl, or just other Disney-owned properties around there that are associated with Disney, so they're including that in the totality of them. But for some reason, the brand of Disney, people try and associate it with happiness, but also in that happiness and like need for Disney to bring happiness out of people, there's like a profound desperation as well that I think also like draws on a lot of negative emotions for people. So that's another reason why I like Disney. It's just something you're all just born, when you grow up in America, you just know of Disney as you get older. It's just ingrained in your brain. All your classmates are talking about it, all your parents are talking about it. I
guess it sort of like shows the horseshoe theory that you know, in a place of extreme happiness like Disney, you also get extreme sadness, right? Because people are trying to clamor for that extreme happiness, but if they can't get it, then they fall into depression.
That's a good point. That is a great point. So that is a story of the restless spirits in the House of Mouse. And hopefully I didn't expose myself as too much of a Disney adult, but I love to share those stories, and I hope you guys enjoyed them as well. There will definitely be more coming in the future.
So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. If you guys like this one, give us a like and subscribe. Remember, new episodes every week.